The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles. And broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your host, Nicole Hutchison.
Wake up, Cowboys Nation. Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside Brianna Aldridge, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison. Ladies, what's up? Good morning.
I think everybody's up.
How y'all doing?
I don't think we got to yell at them as much.
No, I'm still going to yell.
10 o'clock.
Nope, still
Okay.
got to
They're not up. They're not up.
That was so much fun this weekend.
All
those
yeah.
games,
Good football.
outstanding. Even the Sunday night game, which was low scoring and not great for those of us who love Justin Herbert. But even that, what a great, hard-hitting game. But, man, outstanding. And the only thing more fun, I know, Bree, you and I enjoy Monday morning listening locally on the Fan here in Dallas when they play the call-ins to Philly after Philly lost. And it was particularly delicious.
I literally,
Undefeated. They're undefeated.
every time, I will, for entertainment purposes, I will go listen to Philly radio when they have a bad loss. And it's incredibly entertaining.
You honestly ain't got to go too far. You can go right to Twitter.
It's like MTV.
They're still going.
It's MTV back in the day, though.
It's too much. The meet us in Cancun stuff. Like, I was like,
Please.
I can't with these people, but
Yeah, today's,
That part.
Nicole, you see how joyous Nicole is? Part of the reason why I have the energy I have today is because,
Thank you, Philly.
yes, appreciate you. We'll see y'all next year, too.
see,
Screaming.
That was tough though to root for San Francisco. I mean,
was.
that's like
Both
lesser
of
of
our
two evils.
nemesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's playoffs, so it can't end in a scoreless tie. So I didn't get my true wish. Somebody had to win, but wow, and the way it ended too. And of course, my first thought was after Eric Kendricks breaks it up, it's like we couldn't use him this year. He was free till the end of November, till Thanksgiving.
And it's interesting, too, because when he was here, was he dealing with something?
Well, in the off season, he had, I think, shoulder surgery.
Because one
Oh,
thing,
yeah, he was playing hurt.
yeah, when he played here, and that makes sense because I remember when the option came up to re-sign him, I was concerned because he struggled in coverage and had some issues, and finding out that he was kind of banged up makes more sense. I definitely think that he's somebody that Dallas should have
Kept.
I mean, but also, too, that San Fran system. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
very true.
it's
They
also,
didn't have.
too,
They
the
were
system.
so deep in that depth chart in some of those positions. It was just crazy what they're able to do with kind of nothing.
Well,
They
which
said
is why I'm okay.
Fifth, sixth, and seventh linebackers.
Yeah, which is why I'm okay with them, like, out Philly aside. You just talked about the playoffs. This is what, like, how cool is it when you watch the playoff games, you can see this is the best of the best. Does that make sense? You can feel the uptick in talent and performance and all that stuff. So that's one of my favorite parts of the postseason, is just getting to see, like, oh, okay. And then it make you sit there and think about your team. You be like, they're not ready yet.
Got a ways to go.
They're not
Yeah,
ready.
and just looking at everybody who's still alive right now going into the divisional round, it's just like anything can happen right now. Like,
Love that.
There's nobody that I'm like we were trying to pick who we thought was going to make it to the Super Bowl, and we were having a tough time because I think originally I had the Packers and Ravens. Well, that didn't last. So now I had to jump on someone else's bandwagon for my new picks. But like literally, there's no team that I'm like, yep, they got it, because any given day something different can happen. And besides the third game last night, I was locked in all the way.
It's exciting, though. I feel like I love when there's like dominant teams. Like everyone likes a dynasty and things like that.
Yeah, you need a foil.
But this is now the league is turning into, we're seeing multiple teams that have struggled and rebuilt. You think about the Rams, who gave away all their first round picks to go win that Super Bowl. A lot of people thought it was going to take them a long time to get to being competitive again. Sean McVay says, we can coach over here. They get that team ready. You look at the Patriots, who've been through coaching changes and all that stuff, and now they're back to a place to where you're looking at them as one of the more respectable teams in the NFL. You talk about San Fran. The reason why I was rooting for San Fran is because of what they were able to do, like Bree just talked about. They are on second, third string players, and you're seeing good coaching too. And that's what makes me excited, and I'm sure we're gonna talk about that with the presser that we just listened
Yeah,
to. Huh?
absolutely. One team we didn't talk about is the Bears either. I know we're talking.
Oh,
about
yes, yeah,
Philly,
that's another team.
San Francisco, but
that game
Caleb
was
Williams. How about the off balance?
Come
throws that he was
on.
making?
Outstanding.
That it was ridiculous. Coming back from 21-3. Yeah,
That's
I have
another
no
team.
words. It's another team.
It's another team that's
I did not expect.
rebuilding
Yeah.
and is showing you it's possible.
I feel like the common denominator of all these teams that we're watching, and even people who snuck into the wild card round, the defense. Everybody has defense that even if it's not dominating, it's what the word we've been throwing around, serviceable. And in the big moments, even though it hasn't been perfect, they show up in big moments. They lean on something that they know they can execute, and that's just something Dallas didn't have all season. I think that's the hardest part, because Dallas, when you're looking at who has first-round buys, the Seahawks, the Broncos, Dallas's offense is outstanding compared to what we're seeing. Those are defensive teams that are getting first-round buys. To me, that's the sickening part.
Yeah, and you watch the games and they're able to sustain pressure on the quarterback. You know, they may not be landing and getting sacks once a quarter, but it's enough to affect the quarterback. And so you saw that with some of the key turnovers late in some of these games.
Yeah.
Love playoff.
Yeah, it's playoff football.
Watch it all at the house.
I'm screaming.
I'm gonna pop her.
I need you to use the door.
She can't help herself.
I'm over it. All right, real fast before we forget, I do want to make sure we shine a light on the All-Pro selections. Shout out to that list, Christy. You want to go ahead and take it away for us?
3 of the Cowboys were named second team All-Pro. So congratulations to George Pickens. It's his first time to be named to an All-Pro team, and he actually got the nod this year over C.D. Lamb. So C.D. was first team All-Pro last year, but didn't make the All-Pro team this year. Of course, he missed a few games, and his stats weren't what they were last year. But congratulations to George Pickens and the players, receivers who were first team in front of George, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Jamar Chase. So certainly in great company there. Congratulations to Brandon Aubrey. All-Pro again. Every year he's been All-Pro, either first or second team. So second team this year behind Will Reichert of Minnesota, who had just such an outstanding season. How can Dicker the kicker not be an All-Pro? Is that amazing? We are in a golden era of kickers, really. I mean, there's some outstanding kickers. Great kickers. And then Cavante Turpin, second team All-Pro. And Ray Davis of Buffalo was first team. So 3 Cowboys, second team All-Pro. No first-teamers this year, but represented in special teams and on offense.
Shout out to Ray Davis. I covered him at Kentucky, so love to see that.
He's a good kid?
Yeah. Good kid.
Any of these surprise you?
He's so awesome. He did fumble the ball last night, though.
Yeah.
I'm about sick of you.
On a big play.
I need you.
I was mad at him.
This
I
is
do like Ray
2026.
Davis.
We're not bringing that in.
I love me some Ray Davis. His background story is amazing, but
Sick of you.
Are we surprised by any of the selections?
Turpin.
Yeah.
I was waiting for special teams
I think-
extraordinaire.
I
Please,
think
please let us know your feelings.
I honestly, I thought there were a lot of yards left on the field this year.
Talk about it. I was. Well, I'm trying not to skip to the.
And
the conference
we can talk about it now.
the kid in Denver, I thought he would get second team. So
the returner.
yeah.
They punter be on the money too, though. Yeah, it surprised me as well. I feel like special teams is a unit that we've talked about this season, and I knew that with the loss of Bones, it was going to Bones Fossil, that the efficiency probably was going to take a drop, because this is one of the best special team coaches in the league. Not only is he one of the best special team coaches in the league, he had a huge hand in scouting some of your best special teams players. Also, too, if I'm not mistaken, he was a part of the conversations and creating some of the rule changes and how things were going. Yes. So when you have that input, when you have a guy that specializes in it, I expected for the Cowboys to take a drop, but I felt like it really affected you this year. And we heard in the presser, even Shoddy even mentioned start and field position, things like that. So they are aware that the special teams unit did not perform to the level that it needed to this year. That's why I was very surprised about the Turpin selection as well.
Do you guys feel like with the drop in the way the special teams unit has performed, is that on the unit, or is that on the way that maybe a Nick Sorensen is kind of coaching? Because I feel like we can all agree is that John Fossil was really good at teaching the techniques fundamentals of the special teams, right? Do y'all feel like there's maybe like a miscommunication there on, I guess?
I think there's a newness factor,
Yeah.
right? I don't know if miscommunication is necessarily the way to describe it. I think there's just a natural change, right? Yeah. And that can be in the way that you teach it. But at the same time, who was the best special teams player this year other than your specialists, right? Aubrey and Anger and Sig. And that's Brevin Spanford.
I was about to say, it might be Brevin Spanford.
It by far.
That's what
by a million
said.
miles. By a million miles, Brevin Spanford. And he hadn't played before. So that position, he wasn't a core special teams guy, but he sure became one this year. And so, you have to give credit where credit's due in developing a guy like that. We should also mention Carlos Polk, who is the assistant special teams coach, and he's been with Cowboys before, so it's not his first swim this year coaching Cowboys special teams. But, it was middling to lower level this year, and when you have a defense that struggled as much as the Cowboys did this year, you were going to have to win 2 out of 3 phases to have a chance to win the game. They won most of the time on offense, but they needed to win on special teams, and most of the time they didn't, or it was level. Yeah. And I think it really hurt them. And we were joking on Cowboys radio broadcast where the Cowboys would be, they'd get the ball at their own 8-yard line, and Brad and Babe would say, Dak's got him right where he wants him, because, they had a lot of long, sustained drives and stuff, but there were so many times where they were backed up.
Starting from there, inside their 10. And with the special teams thing as well, to your point, Nicole, to answer your question, I do think roster changes, injuries, those things had a lot to do with it, because you take a guy like Marquise Bell, who typically is, doing a lot on special teams, he's having to play some safety snaps. I feel like also, too, the injuries and guys having to play elsewhere because of injuries on defense might have taken away from some of the efficiency as well.
And sometimes it's good news when you have a Ryan Flanoy who's your gunner, but now he's doing so well on offense that you're taking him off gunner because he's your third wide receiver now.
That's another
so it's not always injury, but here's the thing. Look around the league. Everybody deals with that. Every team with injuries and guys getting called up and playing more defense and offense. So, it's not an excuse. It can't be an excuse. Is it a reason? Yeah. But you can't use it as an excuse because everybody deals with that.
That's facts.
And if Nick Stranson being here, after what this unit has done overall, I think a lot of times you just look at the stats and you're like, okay, you point the finger at the main guy in charge. And so far, it sounds like his job isn't in jeopardy. Like there hasn't been much. And you kind of heard that.
They were asked.
In the press conference, yeah. And I do want to say, like, when you're looking at, because Nicole had brought up Bones in Tennessee, and when you're talking about penalties, Schottenheimer brought that up about Dallas being the second most penalized special teams unit, while Tennessee was ahead of them. So it's just like, I think special teams is harder when you're talking about offense and defense, because it's easier to point the finger on the question on what it is. So you can't necessarily do that, because if we're doing that, then you got to look at who we just said was one of the best in the business, and they're having issues on that side as well.
Yes, yeah, it's a very good point.
Well, you might not be able to point the finger at special teams, but you can point the finger of possibility of, Turpin's lack of production at the wide receiver role. I want to get to that later in the show, but up next we are going to be breaking down the season-ending press conference. I want to talk big takeaways and more here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk. We're going to take our first break here and be right back.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. X. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
How does the cheerleader's hair always look so perfect? We asked, and they shared one of their biggest beauty secrets. If you want hair like theirs and confidence to match, use Babyliss Pro styling tools. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders use Babyliss Pro curling irons to get those perfect game day curls. To get the hair you see on the cheerleaders, head to BabylissPro.com. Use the code Cowboys20 for 20% off Babyliss Pro tools, the official styling tools of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Get the discount while it lasts. Offer may be withdrawn at any time at advertiser's discretion.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for us. If the men in your life bleed blue and silver like we do, I've found the perfect way to elevate their game day rituals. Gillette just released their best razor in Cowboys colors, and it is everything a Cowboys fan could want. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor combines his Cowboys pride with Gillette's best shave. And with 50% longer lasting blades, it is truly the gift that keeps on giving. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's best shave is also available as heated.
Cowboys Nation, Dallas Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life, is exclusively in the Dallas Cowboys app. Join the official fan club today to receive access to Cowboys Drops, where you can win game tickets, autographed items, exclusive experiences, and more. Download the app now to join.
Welcome back into Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign in the SWBC studio. Nicole Hutchison, Brianna Aldridge, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison. And as promised, we are going to be breaking down this season-ending press conference with Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and head coach Brian Schottenheimer. And there was a lot of things to, of course, unpack there. But I want to start with the priorities this offseason for Dallas. You know, Jerry, Stephen, all of them agreeing that, you know, it is to take care of Pickens, Javonte Williams, Jadeveon Clowney. Where do you feel is the most urgent and why, ladies? Which do you feel is the most urgent? That's better.
Okay, I'll start it off. Yep. I'll say Pickens number one because it's the number one. It's going to be the highest monetary commitment, right? Mm-hmm. Also, and we spoke about this a little bit last week, Clayton Adams, the offensive coordinator, in his final press conference of the year was asked about in the offseason what he's going to focus on, and he said that he would focus on having two number one wide receivers, two elite guys, and how that affects everything, even the run game and how you can deploy them and things like that. So, and then the Javonte Williams, you want to get him and Clowney done because once you get all that monetarily figured out, you know how much you have in free agency to spend, right? And so I think Jerry indicated that, they're not going to be bottom feeders necessarily this year, as they've been most years in free agency, kind of nibbling and hoping to hit on some, older veterans and things like that, or some real inexpensive guys. So I think that you've got to get those players locked up, number one, so that you have them, so that the coaches know what to plan for in the off season, but also how much money you have to allocate elsewhere.
And you said Javonte is they're trying to get him to a multi-year deal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's great because is he going to be a guy that gets $10 million or more average? I don't know, $8 or $9 million, whatever it is. You sign him to a multi-year deal, you can kind of spread that out, and you can have a lesser cap impact this year, and that would help. The other thing that really stood out was Jerry in his monologue to start, even before the Q&A, talking about the Micah trade and how we wouldn't be able to have George Pickens or Javonte, if we had made that monetary commitment to, and I'm paraphrasing, to Micah, that you wouldn't have the ability to bring back some of these guys and to be in the market for some higher price free agents.
What you got to say?
My favorite follow-up was after that, Jerry's explaining how big and how much they can do because they traded Micah Parsons, and he brought up George Pickens being the first name, and I think it's funny. The follow-up was, well, have you started those conversations? Didn't sound like it, and then is it a fail? if you don't get him because you just kind of bragged about, and that was kind of like floated under. So you're hoping these conversations, if they haven't already started, they're in motion, because George Pickens to me is the difference between last year's offense and this year's offense, excluding the fact that Dak wasn't healthy, obvious. Like, that is, when I'm talking about with you guys every week about the foundation, he is what I'm talking about moving forward. I love what Javonte Williams brings. I think you saw towards the end of the season, you need to have a second running back, because we talked about it from the beginning. Okay, his body's going to start to get wear and tear. He's a physical back, and he's not afraid to get hit. He's a big part of your pass protection. I think that's why you want him to stay here, because you could argue there's other running backs who can do similar things of what Javonte brings. And when you're talking about the coaching you have, that's someone who can make them better pass protectors in that aspect as well, right? But I think when you're talking about the overall picture of what the running backs look like, Javonte Williams, I don't know if I'm signing him, making him 10, 11 million a year type of guy. I don't think that's typically what the Cowboys have done in the past.
No.
So that's why, not that I don't want to say he's disposable. I think it's great if you can figure out, but that's not my priority, because I think that's one of that's something that you can, that's not the foundation. That's just, that's luxury to me.
But it's so weird. Is it not? Like, it is, but it's not. No, I think your points
you need to
are
be able to run the ball.
Your points are valid, because I
100%.
feel like I do think I agree with you on if they can find a number. I do agree that
Number
9,
matters,
10 up in there, it sounds like a lot. Now, maybe you can get them at like a 7 and try to figure out how you can work the incentives.
And bonuses,
things like that, and bonuses and things like
incentives
that.
and things like that,
But
yeah.
that's what stood out to me, ladies, to your point about Jerry. I'm going to try to say this in the right way. I felt like him hammering home the Micah thing was explanation. It was also a little, like, I'm not going to say boastful, but it was definitely like, y'all asking me all these questions about what we going to do. The only reason why we can do any of that is because I made this trade. And I think that was, to me, I think he was verbalizing, justifying the trade to us. Sure. And he's going to keep hammering it home, because a lot of people are questioning it. And he also started off saying, hey, if we're going to talk about Micah Parsons, don't play with me. Let's talk about it in the way that it needs to be talked about it. He said, he talked about boundaries. He does not want to, he feels like they feel very strongly about this trade, and they feel like they did the right thing. And I feel like listening to them too, hammering home, we couldn't have signed Pickens if this didn't happen. We couldn't have signed, obviously, Quentin Williams. We're going to see the future. He was saying, like, we're going to see a lot of the benefits of that trade later. We've only got to see a little bit of it on the field now. But I think that's great. But the other side of it was, hey, yo, what I'm hearing is, you know you got money. You know that you have the resources. So whereas they're explaining, like he's explaining it and the explanation is valid, it's also telling me as a media person and telling fans, you know you got some kids ash. And so if you don't spend it, if stuff go wrong, I think people will be a little bit more, even harder on them about it, because you are saying to us one of the reasons why you even made the trade is to benefit you in the future. So if you're not aggressive, if you don't attack free agency the way that you need to, if you don't do these things, I think it's going to come back on you tenfold, because you're hanging your hat on the fact that we made this trade to benefit us in the future, and we wouldn't get some of these guys. We wouldn't be able to even touch some of the guys that we have on here to build this team if we hadn't done this. So it's like a double-edged sword, I felt like, with some of the way that he framed things. Like, okay, Jerry,
Backing himself in a corner.
yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
But you better do something with it, because if you don't, it's going to be a lot of people wondering what you doing with your pocketbook.
The criticism, and if you guys feel different, let me know. But the criticism where I feel is it's how and the timing of the trade that happened. That was hard to justify, because when it happened, when I say we, Cowboys Nation was sold on the fact that they still felt like this was a team that could win right now with that trade. That was without a Quentin Williams on this team. Logan Wilson didn't pan out to what they thought, but that was without
That was later.
Yeah,
That was 2 months.
it was so later.
was-
So I'm saying is they had everyone believing that Kenny Clark and Osa was going to make the difference and keep this thing afloat. And we saw very quickly that that was not the case.
We
needed
did this to
more.
stop the run.
And I think that's the criticism. And now, like shout out to him for going out there and being aggressive, but he kind of left himself no other choice.
But this is where I remember last year, and I had to go back and look to make sure I wasn't tripping. Last year, I feel like when these questions were asked about Osa, about other guys on the roster, they didn't necessarily straight out come out here and say, we are going to make these guys a priority, right? And they waited till March to finally get those deals done. But now it's January 12th? For them to already be saying, hey, these guys are going to be a priority. George Pickens, we're trying to make sure that happens. Javonte Williams, he is on the top of our list. Jadeveon Clowney. I feel like they see the urgency of trying to make sure all of these guys are re-signed. That's
I got
the
a sense of
that I'm
urgency.
feeling.
Oh,
Did you?
for sure.
I got a sense of
100%.
urgency.
Absolutely.
I also got a sense of understanding from this presser, because I think so much of especially them sticking with Shoddy, which ended up working out. But I feel like so much of this offseason come into this year, the word continuity comes up a crap ton when it comes to the coaching staff, and we've hammered home on Dallas not having steady coaches and a conglomerate of guys stay together for extended period of time, especially on the defensive side. What I took from it is that it felt like Jerry and those guys really understand if you got good coaches, they gonna go. You need to be so sure of yourself and what you have as far as vision and communication, that when that happens, you're not in a place to where you're trying to figure out your identity through whoever's coming in here. Your identity is established, so as you're seeking out coaches, you are prepared for when your coaches that are good leave. I heard him talking about that's the normal now. It is. We're seeing turnover in coaches. Think about this, all the vacancies right now that are not even filled. We're seeing turnover in coaches, these coaches, and good for them. When they see opportunity, they're jumping at it. That's what we do in this business. And so I'm like, okay, I get it, but I just felt like the continuity thing has become, to this point, has been almost like a crutch or not like an excuse almost as to, okay, well, that's why we're bringing in, that's why we're just elevating this guy. No, this is the league now, and you might have to get, a little creative and go out and get college coaches. You might bring in a guy that's never coached before, but you're his first shot. That's the norm now. So you can't be looking for a ready-made person all the time. So for me, I think that was encouraging to me, that it seems like they can't use the continuity thing and, and all this stuff as a reason not to be aggressive in the coaching search anymore. It's going to happen.
Yeah, his exact words were, who really has the continuity?
I love that.
Because
it's the truth.
Is it the players who you bring in the offseason, free agency, whatever? Or is it the coach who comes in with his, of course, his scheme or has been here for years to come? But they do have to be able to adapt. And I feel like that's where Shoddy was kind of hinting towards the scheme fit as well. Don't come in here and just expect guys to be able to, or trying to force guys to fit into a scheme. You got to be able to figure out a scheme that works with your guys. And that's what I feel like Dallas has really been missing.
Well, think about the previous summer when Mike Zimmer comes in and you need some big bodies, you need some defensive tackles, and let's just say the cupboard was bare. Yeah. And so during training camp, you get through the offseason and Zimmer sees that, oh my gosh, we need some. and these were the people that were brought in, Linval Joseph, Carl Lawson, Jordan Phillips. Remember when they were bringing in guys once camp started? We were out in Oxnard and stuff. And so, and that's why we were talking about this the last couple of weeks is you don't want to rush this process of hiring a new defensive coordinator so much that you're missing out on some good candidates that may not be the most obvious that the media is talking about. You don't want to rush it. You want to make sure you get it right. But at the same time, if you're not scouting and drafting and bringing in free agency, the guys, if you're waiting until training camp, like we were in 2024, defensive tackle. It's just not going to work, you know? And so, but Nicole, I love what you said about, having the structure in place. That's why I think in Baltimore, John Harbaugh leaving, getting fired is seismic because it's like Tomlin, but Harbaugh, just that identity and the emphasis on the defense and things like that. I mean, that's going to shake up that division for a long time because that's the one thing you could always count on with Baltimore. And then you're getting frustrated with lack of playoff success and wash your hands, and now you're going a different direction. I mean, wow, that I'm still surprised.
Yeah,
what happened
that shook
there.
up. That made when it was like Eberflus was let go, and there was a story, and then that was under the rug because that came out right after. But the thing that stood out to me in reference to the candidates and what they're looking for in that fresh look, if you will, everything that Schottenheimer said is making it hard for me to buy into the fact that he had the amount of input in hiring Matt Eberflus.
We're gonna talk about it because I was like
everything he just said he's looking for, and understanding what Conor O'Reilly has done for this team and the freshness of Clayton Adams, and like you said, bringing people in who have not maybe as much experience. And the Cowboys trending in DCs, they're typically guys who have the experience and who are veterans and have been
Who they know.
And familiarity with the Jones family.
all that kind of stuff.
There you go.
And it just, from listening just from Schottenheimer, he's never going to really throw anyone in the bus. We saw that all season. He stuck by Matt Eberflus like, I'm going to stick beside him.
Stick beside him.
And it was getting real ugly, and he could have said certain things, and he never did. And that's just the type of guy he is. But all the qualities that he listed, I'm like, there is no way that this man was sitting there and like, hey, Matt Eberflus. Like, no. What I think happened and how I envision it is this was a guy, again, Schottenheimer, I think we all can agree deserves to be where he's at, right? And he's proven that. But this was not a guy who else was trying to hire Brian Schottenheimer as a head coach. So I think it was kind of giving in to the front office what they wanted to get this opportunity and feeling like, okay, well, I got to make this work. And it obviously didn't work. So I hope what they're saying now and him having that input with who he brings in as DC is actually realistic, because I think that's going to make or break what this team is able to do, because you can ask someone to paint a masterpiece and you choose all the colors. That doesn't work.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. Come on, girl. Look at the bars.
Act like
Screaming.
Heavy with that pen.
Would y'all prefer? Would y'all like someone who has experience, or would y'all like for the Cowboys to give somebody a chance that maybe this is their first opportunity to get a defensive coordinator position? What would y'all like?
Well, I want somebody that is a fresh mind, that is going to fit with what the team is now. And also, too, one thing that we heard repeated through this press conference was flexibility.
Yep.
A teacher and a communicator. Hey, when you're talking to these young guys, I mean, don't get it twisted. I think that the Quinnen and Clark trades were huge, because you are getting guys in here who are leaders in that sense, and they're good foundational leaders. But they need a coach that communicates and teaches and breaks down the game, and it kind of has that open door policy, I want to say. And I think that's what we were hearing from this presser. So for me, I just want the guy, whoever comes in, whatever he does to fit what the NFL is relevant in the NFL, is something that can carry over, and also that his temperament fits what the team is either trying to become or what it is. Because I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like there was a big difference in temperament on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball. And that type of imbalance, I don't think, can exist in that way, because I'm sure I can't explain it, but I feel like the offense is sitting up there, or the defense is sitting up there looking at the offense, having all this fun and all this personable stuff. And then you have, and again, it's no knock to Eberflus. His temperament is just a little bit more, chill in that sense.
Reserved.
He's just a little bit more reserved. Absolutely nothing
And
wrong
they're
with
also
that.
not having success, so it's not fun.
So it's not fun.
playing poorly.
Yeah, I just
No, I mean, it is.
I think the biggest thing is the flexibility. Whoever it is, I want them to have a multiple, versatile scheme that can tap into what these other teams are doing. I mean, you look at the Rams, you look at some of these offenses, there's so much flexibility in these offenses. You need a DC that can adjust in game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let me ask you this. So 3 of the young guys who are getting a lot of attention and interviews and stuff, so if it's Jim Leonard or Durante Jones or Bonda, right? They've called plays at the college level, but not the NFL level. Y'all cool with them coming in and being a first-time defensive play caller with the Dallas Cowboys? Because they're young and personable and going to relate and probably great communicators and maybe great teachers and all that. But no, I'm really asking. Y'all cool with someone that's called at the college level but not at the NFL level?
I'm cool with it at this point because we've seen the inverse. We are seeing now. Don't get it twisted. There's some salty dogs in this game. When you think about the Fangios and those guys, those are proven. Even I'll go as far as the 49ers. Yes, Saleh. There are some guys in this league, D coordinators, that are dogs that are known, and they're going to get it done. However, outside of that, all these other guys are guys that people just gave a chance.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of give and take. You got to see if they're proven in some senses and see if it fits. But also, too, though, I don't have a problem with it because we have seen this team hire former head coach over and over and over and over again. And there's clearly a communication disconnect, and there's clearly a flexibility disconnect with some of these guys. And I'm open. I want an open mind that is going to be relatable, but also to be firm in what they believe as far as their scheme.
Yeah, I want to
compared to like last year. I think a little more. What brings comfort is like it's not a complete wipeout, right? So we're not seeing Schottenheimer calling plays for the Dallas Cowboys for the first time and seeing a fresh new mind DC come here and calling plays for the first time. Of course, it's a little weary because you know it's going to naturally come with bumps and bruises, but so did this offense. And there's still things like, okay, well, he can improve here when you're talking about red zone, when you're talking about time management, things like that. But that offense was dang good, right? And so I feel like, and it's sad to say, but look where we're starting. Like, you can't really do much worse than what we saw. We put the man on the field. We put him in the booth. Okay, we was about to put him in his car to call the play.
This is what I'm saying.
Why are you like this?
I'm putting it in perspective. I'm an analogy person. I'm just saying. But I also want to say, when you look, just because you grab a guy who's working under someone from a defense like the Broncos or from a defense where, for like the Vikings, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to copy and paste that defense to us. But it does excite me that they were working under someone and saw, to your point, Aisha, being able to mix things up and be creative, because that's just something that this team didn't have.
What are we going to take?
We're going to take our second break here on Girls Talk Boys Talk.
Yes, my brain
presented by Invisalign. Still more to break down. I know we said we're going to talk about Turpin, but I'm going to wait for another week for that because there's a lot to unpack from that press conference. But we'll be right back with more Girls Talk Boys Talk presented by Invisalign.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
How does the cheerleader's hair always look so perfect? We asked, and they shared one of their biggest beauty secrets. If you want hair like theirs and confidence to match, use Babyliss Pro styling tools. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders use Babyliss Pro curling irons to get those perfect game day curls. To get the hair you see on the cheerleaders, head to BabylissPro.com. Use the code Cowboys20 for 20% off Babyliss Pro tools, the official styling tools of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Get the discount while it lasts. Offer may be withdrawn at any time at advertiser's discretion.
Cowboys Nation, Tom Gibson has been named your 2025 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan for his dedication to the team and spicing up the game. Vote for Tom to be named the ultimate NFL Fan of the Year at NFL.com/fan of the year.
Welcome back into Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign in the SWBC studio. Nicole Hutchison, Brianna Aldridge, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison. Y'all know what time it is.
What?
Wake up!
The people are up.
I don't know.
Baby, the
10:40.
Make sure.
the people about to go on lunch. They all know.
Wake up! Maybe not. Some people sleep in. I don't know.
I think
It's brunch. It's brunch.
I really think it is brunch time. What is it? Hey, who started brunch?
I don't know.
People who slept through breakfast.
That's people.
Look,
brunch.
hungover people
Listen,
started brunch.
brunch confuses me. Like, should I be breakfast or do I grab a sandwich? I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot on your mind.
You know what doesn't confuse me? What Jerry said about the secondary. Well, it was
I'm
actually
done.
Steven, sorry. Said about the secondary that will be obviously an area for fixing. Of course, the linebacker position as well. But I do want to touch on the secondary because even as Steven mentioned, between the injuries and things like that, they need some help on the back end. Aisha, thoughts on what Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones had to say about the secondary?
Well, to me, it sounds like they won't be drafting gentlemen that have injuries and they're trying to work. That's something that Dallas has done for a long time. And don't get it twisted. I understand the value aspect of it when it comes to draft because I'm telling y'all, scouting is a totally different language. They got all these numbers and all this stuff. It was the right thing to take Savon Revel where they took him, given his evaluation. They mentioned the fact that, he's raw. He was kind of raw. He had to kind of just bounce in there. But I really feel like they are realizing the injuries that they have dealt with in that room. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. They got to basically start fresh at this position. And that also goes back to coaching because I think I heard them mention things about, we're talking about the flexibility. We're talking about the communication. That secondary didn't know what the heck they were doing. You even had the veterans not knowing what the heck they were doing for a lot of this time. I feel a revamp coming on for that secondary. And, I think it's obviously necessary. These guys struggled in every way that is possible. They didn't even get the opportunity to take the ball away. Shotty mentioned the lack of turnovers.
Yeah.
So for me, I guess where I'm at is I hope that they are still sharing the same sentiment of kind of starting fresh because love Deron Bland. He's coming off of another foot surgery. Like, he's coming off another foot surgery. Hooker is a little longer in the tooth. Donovan Wilson, like,
He's a free agent.
he's a free agent. There are really no guarantees at the corner spot right now. No guarantees.
I love the accountability from Jerry with mentioning that they didn't realize how detrimental losing Jordan Lewis was.
Love.
They could have asked us.
They could have because we talked about it.
I was about to faint when I seen it.
Yeah, everybody, feel like on Cowboys Nation understood that Jordan Lewis was a huge loss. And they were expecting, of course, Bland to be able to move in and out, but he battled with injuries. And just the entire cornerback room, which, I feel like Girls Talk, Boys Talk talked about it. Check out the shows. Injuries have been an issue within that cornerback room for years. And if you draft a Savon Revel who we knew he wasn't going to be ready fully, 100%. Trayvon Diggs as well, battling injuries, has not been fully healthy since 2021. Honestly, I feel like you have to be able to draft well at that position, or just bring in some veteran guys that you know can come in and produce. And I feel like that's where the drop off has really been.
And they tried, right,
Yeah.
Nicole? Because we were talking about it in the last couple of weeks. You know, you brought in a Kyer Elam basically to be a placeholder, right, until the guys come back from injury or Revel. Because you're right, they knew he wasn't going to be there for the start of the season, and so Elam is your starter the first month and a half or 2 months of the season, and then gets let go. So. But that goes back to what we talked about in free agency in the first segment is sometimes when you don't have a lot of resources, you got to kind of, bottom feed and things like that. So, but yeah, that was the whole thing though. It doesn't matter. You can get Jim Thorpe himself, or you can bring back Deion Sanders at 100%. But if you don't have a pass rush,
if you can't rush the passer,
facts.
they're gonna get cooked. So
100%. And when I look at the corners and how you read some names about some of the big boys that came in Oxnard, right? The experience, they've brought veterans. I feel like with the corners, the problem I always had with Kyer was he was a veteran, I guess, for the roster, but he wasn't proven. He didn't do anything in Buffalo that
because you covered him there.
I saw it. I saw the same thing. It was this extraordinary camp. It was some takeaways, and then he got cooked. I mean, and that's why they felt like maybe another system he'd be better. But like, speaking of Buffalo, for those of you guys who watched last night, they got some old DBs. Trey White made the game-winning stop, and I've seen him go through 2 season-ending injuries and bounce around and back in Buffalo. So I think when I look at that group and how they're successful is that they have the veteran, like real veteran pieces, and they can tackle. That I know a lot. We were talking about the pass rush and being able to turnovers, but them boys were not tackling.
Oh, I've been fussing
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
Even in the draft conversation is we need corners that are
Yeah.
your secondary. These offenses now, they are gonna force your secondary to come up and tackle. You used to be able to get away with it. There's plenty of corners we've seen play this game that were not strong tacklers. No dice. They're gonna go after you and make you have to come up on the edge and have to tackle. And to your point, Bree, that is somewhere where you got killed this year from the linebacker spot and secondary. And so I agree with you. And Cole Bishop too was huge for them. Safety.
And that's another tackle.
Yeah.
That's a safety.
Yeah. And by the way, the Elam thing, that's still costing you Kyer Elam, bring him in because that was the trade, right?
Yeah.
With Buffalo. And so you got him along with a 6th-round pick for last year's 5th-round pick and this year a 7th-rounder. So, yeah. So.
No returns.
No returns on that. I don't like it. It's like when you go to the store, you can't return your stuff back because you don't.
No, they charging now.
Store credit.
Charge you?
They charging. They was charging during the holiday season for
trifling.
returns.
That's so trifling.
Online is crazy.
I don't like it. All right. Unfortunately, we got to go. This was great. By the way, the Cowboys have the 12th and the 20th pick
What?
in the NFL draft. I think we should be that's something to be happy
I'm
about.
ecstatic.
It's something to be happy about.
with it.
Yes. That
You
part.
gotta get guys that can
Next
produce.
week, let's go through what the Cowboys have done when they've had multiple first-round picks because there have been some big hits,
that.
a few misses, but some really big hits in Cowboys history when they've had 2 first-round
2
picks.
top 20 picks.
Hey.
Appreciate you, players.
part.
Appreciate you.
All right. We're going to sign off, unfortunately. But we are going to be breaking that down, the history of the 20th, their first-round picks next week. So make sure to stick with us here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk. But for Brianna Aldridge, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, I'm Nicole Hutchison. We'll see y'all back here Monday at 10 a.m.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!